Welcome back to Excel for Educators, Roll Your Own Gradebook. This is Lesson 2, when we're going to start building our reporting tool using the index and match functions. As a reminder, if you're interested in downloading the workbook that I'm using so that you can practice with it too, just use the link that you see there. Alright, when we last left our hero, this Excel workbook, we talked a little bit about using different kinds of font styles to designate different kinds of assignments. We talked about using different colors to mark out different kinds of grading periods. We applied some conditional formatting to get the stoplight effect, and also a very simple median formula to do some summarizing of the scores. Today we're going to work with the reporting tool, which is on the other page of the worksheet. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to build a drop-down menu in the last name box up here. And we're going to use that to tell this reporting tool how to update all the other cells so that we can just change one thing on the report and have everything current for whatever student we want to look at. So to do that, we're going to go back to the scores sheet and we're going to tell Excel what we want to use for our drop-down list. And so this is going to be the students' last names. So I've highlighted those names and I'm going to go up here into the formula bar name box and I'm going to call it something really exotic, last name. Alright, so now anytime that I use the term last name anywhere in this workbook, Excel will know that it means this range. And even if I add or delete students throughout a grading period, that range will still apply. It will adjust to however many names are there. Let's go back to the report. Let's go over here to our box for the last name, and now we're ready to build our drop-down list. On the Data tab, you want to find Data Validation, and that'll bring up a little pop-up window. Tell it that you have a list, because we have a list of names. And our source is just what we call that range, last name. Okay. Now you notice if we look back over here, we've already got a little pull-down menu ready to go, and if I click that, you can see all of the student names here. Okay, so I'll just pick one. Right, now we're going to use an index and match formula that will help Excel know how to fill in these other pieces of information like the first name. So the way that this works, and again it's a formula, so we have to start with equals. I'm going to tell Excel to index, just like you would for a book, a range. And what do I want it to index? I want it to index the first names. So I'm going to go back to the scores, and I'm just going to highlight those names. Alright, you can see them up here in the formula bar. Okay. What do I want it to index the scores against? Well, I want it to match first names and last names. So now I'm going to tell it, I want you to match that range of first names with what happens to be for the last names. So that cell, and I'm going to take out this word report with the exclamation mark. That's referring to the sheet that this cell is on, but we know we're on this sheet. We can see that Excel has highlighted it for us. So we're going to match something like Brown with our range, last name. What kind of match do we want? You see in the little drop-down menu there, we're going to put a 0 because we want it to be an exact match. If it's not the name Brown, we don't want Excel to use it. All right, I'm going to close my parentheses, going to hit enter, and you'll notice that now we have Charlie there. So we can check this against some other names just to make sure that it's working. So if I put Bumstead in there, now we've got Dagwood. All right. Or Van Pelt, now we've got Lucy. We can use the same formula for all the other scores. So if we think about the different boxes we have here that match what's in our gradebook, we can use index match to fill them all. So again, we want it to index. What do I want it to index? I want it to index against this standard. So I'm going to go back, find this standard, highlight those cells. I'm going to go back to my report. Oh, and this time it changed it, bad Excel. So I'm just going to put in scores here. I want it to match this name with our range of last names. It needs to be an exact match. Done. Okay, I'm going to do one more. Index. Go back to the scores. I want my current score. Right. Go back to the report. I want it to match and I want it to match what we have in C4 with last name. Wanted an exact match. Close parentheses, done. Okay, so I'm not going to do the rest. I'll leave those for you, but I just want to show you that as we change these, go back up here to Steve Canyon, you'll notice that these scores will change as well as the name that we have up there. Okay, some of the scores are the same, so. Alright, so I'm going to wrap those up, and then in our next session we're actually going to learn to make these graphs, again, that will auto-update based on the name that we have here. So we'll see you next time.